So in this episode of Squirrel Garage, guys, we are going to be putting in the oil temp sensor into the oil drain pan. We're going to replace the oil drain nut with this fancy little thing I got from Autometer, which allows the replacement of the drain pan bolt with a 1/8 threaded tap in the middle, so that we can thread our oil temp sensor into it and into the pan. So we'll also be doing an oil change at the same time, since we have to take the drain plug off. And it car needed an oil change anyway, so we'll do an oil change. I'll get it jacked up. We'll drain that, replace that drain plug, and then we can start running all our sensors. Since all of our sensors will now be installed in the car, we can actually grab all our wires, start running everything into the area that we have mapped out for the control unit for the sensors. We'll also be trimming the area for the coolant overflow tank here in a little bit, and we'll be doing all that once we start moving back to that area. But first, let's drain the oil out of this thing and get the sensor in. So guys, nothing crazy here, just your good old oil draining. If you can see under here, I have dirty ass underside of this car. It definitely needs a good cleaning. You can kind of see my long tube headers with the Y pipe. My exhaust is pretty scraped up. I didn't know that, but you can see the Durham bushings that I have. If people notice, you have either the centered or the offset bushings, and mine are offset, but usually they're offset to the outside. I have actually offset them to the inside, which pulls the wheel a little bit further back in the wheel well, and gives me a little bit more room with the well, our next step, now that the oil is pretty much drained, is to put in our nice little 1/8 inch tap M12 by 1.5. This allows us to put this in the drain here, and we'll tighten that down. And this is actually a 19, since has to be a little bit bigger to put the tap on. So we'll put that there, and I'm going to move you guys a little closer, move the oil out of the way, move you guys a little bit closer so you can see this a little bit better. So that goes in first, and this will get cinched down, and this is a 19. Comes with the copper washer on it, so that it's a nice tight seal. So this will go down not super tight, but a little bit snugger than hand tight. And once we get this done, we will spray all this stuff down with some engine cleaner and clean the whole bottom side of this car. So next we go and we put in the nice 1/8 tap, which is the temp sensor, and we'll cinch that one down. We'll also put our pipe thread on there, Teflon tape, but I, for some reason, cannot find my Teflon tape right now. So I'm just showing you guys how it's going to go in. There'll be Teflon tape on this as well. And then this sensor, we will have to figure out which way we're going to route this so it's not near the exhaust at all. Most likely, trying to see what we can see, it might run back and then up the firewall behind the heat shield. If not, we'll run it up and forward, and secured along the way, all the way up and around, so it doesn't get messed with the heat. We don't want to burn through the wires like that. So next, the refill with oil, and we're good to go down here. So now all our sensors are now in place. So we can now officially run all the wires back to the mainframe, the brain, and make sure they're all, we'll run them all nice and clean and tight and put them all to the glove box. So that will be after we run all our coolant lines. Okay guys, now that we have all the drain plug in, we are going to refill the car with new oil. O'Reilly's actually had a special for oil. 5 quarts was like $27. So we're going to fill up, and then we can actually put the car back down on the ground. I have the sensor for the oil temperature run up over here a little bit. We're going to connect the rest of the wires to that and run them up in this general area. Run these 2 sensors, most likely up and under the intake manifold, and then come up on the back here and run them up through here through the wiring loom, so they're all up here in the same area. But let's fill it with oil. I'll also be doing an oil change on the X5 tonight. We have a fun run coming up tomorrow with a bunch of the BMW guys, the local BMW guys, from Erotic of Houston. We've set up a fun run from north side of town to Conroe, up and around, have a nice little lunch. So unfortunately the X5 will be my car of choice for tomorrow, since this one won't be done. But I do want to put a oil change on it before we go out and about tomorrow. So I have a whole couple quarts for that one. The M3 normally should take I believe it's 6.5, almost 7 quarts normally. Unfortunately, with the supercharger being on the main oil supply for the motor, as well as the oil cooler up front, this car takes roughly almost 9 quarts of oil, a little over 8 quarts of oil. So I unfortunately have to buy 2 of these jugs, and I'm using 0W40 for this car. You need the 0 for the supercharger and moving stuff around, and that's what I've always run. Mobile 1 fully synthetic for now. So I'm gonna put this in. We got 5. We have that done, and the car is full of oil. We are going to dig through this fun little box and figure out, these are all the sensor boxes and zip ties. We are going to figure out which sensor goes where. They're all color coded, which makes it nice. And on the box here, you'll be able to see, I don't know if you guys can see this, everything's got a color, and that corresponds to what sensor it is. So our pink here will match that up. That's water temp. So pink is water temp, It made it in there. The maroon color 2-pin is oil temp, so this is our one that comes from the bottom of the car. So we'll throw that down there on the bottom. And then we have, what else do we have? Oil pressure. That's boost. Yep, that's our turbo in. That's our boost is blue. Well, that's fine. Oh well. I don't know what to do with it. It's gotta be here somewhere. Might be inside. Let me go check. So I did leave it inside. It was in my workroom. But that's our oil pressure. Goes right in there. So we will move over to the car and we will start running these wires. Once we get this done and the oil temp wire run, we can put the car back down on the ground and then in turn start working on the coolant overflow tank. I actually might change the oil in the X5 first before we do the coolant expansion tank. I need to get that done before it gets too late. It's like 9 o'clock now. I just don't want to have a lot of lights outside for my neighbors. So let's run these wires real quick. We'll move over to the car and then we'll go change the oil in the X5 real quick, and then we can come back to this and work on. Okay guys, now we're moved over to the car. I have the oil pressure hooked up, wire hooked up. We have the water temp. These slide only in one way. Pretty simple plug and play for those. And then all those wires. My thought is this over a little bit so we have some more room. Nope. I have no room to put this thing. I need to put this fan on also. The fan is getting in my way, so now I kind of want to put it on so I can get it out of the way. Now that the radiator is pretty much installed. Man, moving that hood up made it bright. So my plan is to run these up under the intake manifold, back up and around, and into the firewall over there by the ECU. To do that, I'm going to make this simpler. Instead of running 2 wires, we're going to run both of them zip tied together, which makes for a slightly easier run. Running them together. Let me find some scissors so I can cut these zip ties. Okay, I'm gonna use the multi-tool for this. So get you guys up here so you can see me. Okay. Well, these run generally the same area. So we're gonna get these to the point where I'm gonna zip tie the sensors together. I'm gonna stagger the connections so it makes it easier. You don't want to zip tie them right together, then they'll make it, awkward and bulky under there. But I'm gonna loosely zip tie these together in a fashion that makes it easy to run under the intake manifold. Usually I zip tie every 8 inches, 6 to 8 inches, depending. Just makes it easier. We'll put these 4 zip ties on first, cut them, and then this should get us up and under the intake manifold. And then we can zip tie the rest. and meet up with the oil temp sensor from underneath, and go from there, zip tie them all together, and then figure out how we're going to get these inside the car. So we'll just multi-tool cut all these off. Well, this time a little tighter, and then cut them off. This will get us a nice little package deal. Won't be a lot of loose wires running underneath the intake manifold. And we'll zip tie. I'll see where I can zip tie along the way inside under the intake manifold, so that we're not just having wires dangling around. So those all on the ground. Pick them up later. So now let's run these up and under the. After looking at these and where I kind of wanted to run them, changed my mind, and I'm going to run them down with the very basically adjacent to the fuel rail, and run them down with all the injector connections and everything. We'll run these up. I'll run these under there, all the way back, and then cut to the right, and we'll put it over there. That also gives me a little bit more length of wire for when we run it into the car. I'm gonna need as much wire as I possibly can to get through the firewall into the glove box area. So, a little change of plans. I think that's going to be a little bit better, wire running. So let's get that run real quick and move on to the oil temp sensor underneath, and we can run that one up and meet up with these. So now we have the wires run up and over everything. I'm going to zip tie them down to our diagnostic port wires that come in. This will tuck them up nice and out of the way for right now. And we'll come down here. We have to relocate this battery box. I mean the battery distribution box. So for now we'll just put these wires up and out of the way, and then once we start attacking this in a little bit, we'll adjust all that. But this all gets cut out and gonna get reconfigured so we can put our coolant expansion tank right here in this area. So now we've moved underneath the car now, and you can see this is our oil temp sensor, and I have run the line cable from up top here down behind this heat shield we have here, and now I just have to figure out how I'm going to get it up and out of the way so it won't get interfered. I don't want to have it here because that's like the lowest part. You can see I scrape right there, so I don't want anywhere where this wire might get cut, but I also don't want it to be in the way of the header. I don't want to run it to there. I don't want it to run it to any moving part. So I might run it up to the front, up to the motor mount, and go up and around that way. But let's kind of feel this out, and I'm going to lay out some stuff so I'm not sitting in oil. Let me grab some zip ties so that we can figure out a routing way. So let's get under here, and I'm going to move you guys a little bit back there so we can have some room and see where we're at. So we come down here. So if I do this behind that motor mount, behind the whatchamacallit, behind the heat shield. Oh, let's spin around here. Behind this heat shield, down by the motor mount, and we plug in here. Which way does it go? That way? Nope, other way. Nope. Yes. Hello. That way. There we go. Now that we have it plugged in, we can kind of see how we want to run this. Might be able to run it up on top of this, but I don't know what's still close to the header, but I guess it's not as close. I need to figure out how I'm gonna, away from moving parts. Oh, I did also order a new motor mounts and new transmission mounts for this car. Grabbed all of that from Condor Speed Shop. Online, they had some pretty good solid motor mounts and solid trans mounts. Got those coming because I got a new Guibo from Chris. He also dropped off a few goodies that we're going to be working on later, and kind of planning out his build. He's got what is the name of his car? Black Xena Warrior Princess. He's got a turbo E36 that he's going to be dropping off to Squirrel Garage here in the next, I'd say month or two. Going to be doing some work to it. It'll make a nice little surprise and some good videos here coming up. But let's see how we can route this. I'm almost there. That goes behind the heat shield. We'll strap it to that and strap it to that, and we should be good to go. That should be up, out of the way, away from all the heat and the headers and any scraping. So we're good to go, and let's move back up to the top, and we'll join this wire in with the rest, run it, and then we'll take a break and go change the oil in the X5 so I have a well-to-do car for tomorrow's fun run. So, move back up to the top. We have our oil temp sensor. Comes up behind that that heat shield right there, and we'll one more zip tie to this AC line, just to keep it out of the way of the header. I just want to keep it as far away from the header as possible. You don't want to burn through this wire just because it's you didn't take the time and it's too close to the header. So we'll zip tie this up and out of the way. This nicely comes up, and it's going to meet in with this. So we're good to go on all the wiring for the sensors. We'll go in here, we'll pull this out, and we'll find the entry point into the glove box from the back of the ECU. Run these wires in here, run them in, and we'll hook up the tablet. Once we move to the inside, I want to get all the motor stuff done first, and then we'll move on out over there. So now let's go change oil in the X5. Well, guys, I just stopped recording. You guys missed it. I just pulled the garage door open to get to the X5, and my ceiling falls in. The whole sheetrock ceiling fell in. Well, thank goodness I had literally 10 seconds before put up my garage door, which has saved the M3 from being just annihilated by sheetrock and insulation and everything. So literally 10 seconds before, put the garage door up and the ceiling falls in. I am incredibly lucky. But now we have to tackle that after we do the X5 oil before I can lower the garage door again. So let's change the X5 oil first, and then we'll attack the ceiling. So guys, we're underneath the X5. I have it supported with jack stands. It's actually only like half an inch higher than what it is normally, but it just gives us just enough room to work under here. Have my oil tank here to catch everything. The X5 is a little bit different. The oil filter is up underneath, and we'll remove that casing from underneath, but we're going to drain the oil first, which is a bottom drain plug here, and it's an Allen head 5/16. But we got this off, and we're about to drain all the oil out of here. Oh, that's some... Oh, shit. Oh, crap. Had to stick my hand in there as I dropped the drain plug, and it was overflowing the oil here. And it still looks like it's overflowing the oil. Figure out why that's not... There it goes. It's going. It just got a little ahead of itself. So let's go clean up real quick. Let's grab a rag here. So, that's one way to drain all the oil. That went quick. You know, the bottom drain makes it super quick. So, let me clean off all our hands and our drain plug here. And you can see the cat in the background. Tinkerbell. She's helping out. But we'll get all this oil drained out of here, and then we will see if I even have a bolt big enough. I mean a socket big enough to take the oil filter housing off. I'm not sure if I do or not. Just wipe down the area while we're up here. I have a small oil leak. I think it's timing cover on the front here. We'll have to address that one day also. That's on my list of things to do to the X5, which is a slowly growing list of items. But once all this oil drains out of here, we will slide the drain plug back up in, and then move to the back and remove the oil filter housing, which is a plastic, I believe, on this one. So let's let the oil drain, and then we'll come back to... Well, guys, we're at a stopping point on the X5 now. I cannot find my 1-inch socket to take the oil filter housing off, and it's recessed up in there, so I can't get vice grips, pliers, an open-end wrench. I can get nothing on this thing. We put the drain plug back in, so this is as far as I can go on this thing tonight. I'm gonna have to go in the morning and go get a 1-inch socket and come back and finish this in the morning. But this is how projects go. I don't know where my 1-inch socket went. Who knows? But just gonna go up to O'Reilly's, get one tomorrow, come back, drop the filter, put the new filter in. Well, we're back on the M3. Did a little cleaning. Got the ceiling that fell in removed and all cleaned up. In the process, I decided to clean out this cabinet. Been meaning to get this out of here so I have a little bit more room to work next to the car, move the air tank to the corner, and free up a lot of this space along the side so I can actually get organized. Most of that stuff went on that shelf right there. Built a nice little shelf, has all my paint, cleaning supplies, car wash stuff, you know, just a bunch of random stuff. But let's get back to the M3. Next on our list is to mark out the coolant tank location so that we can go ahead and trim the this box here. I guess it would, like, for the secondary air pump, if I had one, would go right here. We need to mark that out, trim it for the battery also, because we're going to move the battery terminal back as far as we possibly can. So let's get to it. So guys, what we're going to do now is set the coolant tank in here, and we are going to mark around it and get our general outline shape of where we want. I'm using a whiteout pen. Just gives me a good contrast versus the red. Once we mark it out, we'll remove the tank, and you'll see the white lines, and that's the general area that we want to cut. I'm going to cut a 1/4 of an inch bigger and cut a gas hose in half and slide it over, so it gives the tank some cushion and it won't rattle against the metal. But I'll also have a bracket that ties back into the firewall here to hold it fully steady and everything. I've disconnected the battery, and we're going to start removing all these terminals on the battery. Note their location so you can put them back in the same area. But I'm going to disconnect all this so I can pull this out so we can cut back, notch this, and move this battery terminal back as far back to the firewall as we possibly can. So we have most of these removed. I'm removing the last 2 right now. This one's the last one right there. And we can pull the battery box off so that it's out of the way. Once we remove this last wire, remove this bolt, and our battery distribution block comes right off. Set that off to the side and kind of figure out how we are going to run these. Make sure you take these out. That kind of gives us our spacing. We'll measure the spacing and basically take this spacing and just move it back about 4 inches. That should give us more than enough room. Same with here. All these wires will bend back up into place, so I'm not worried about any of that. That's our wire to our fan. We'll run both of those inside this fender liner, so they're out of the way, no more wires hanging out. But let's kind of figure out what we can do here. This piece appears to be spot welded on. We'll tap these. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tap these little spot welds, drill them out, pull this little lip piece off so that we can transfer these hole dimensions back into this area, and then in turn trim, basically follow this line, trim that out, and move the battery box back. So I pulled out the nifty drill bit set that my dad gave me for Christmas. Can never have enough drill bits. I go through these things like crazy. So we will start by stepping with a small drill bit and working our way up to a the size of the pop rivet there. I mean the welding rivet, and drill these out. So let's get to it. You don't need to see me drill out all 5, but same process all the way through. We'll be right back. So, I've decided to make it a little bit easier on myself and use my step drill bit. Picked this one up at Harbor Freight. And it just steps up as you drill. And so since we already have a pilot hole drill, we can take this and drill out the size of the pop rivet. And next one. No, make sure you don't drop the drill bit into the car. Make sure it's still tight. No, keeps coming out. One more. And we should be able to just tap it loose and get it out of there. I'll get the hammer and we'll tap that out. So, after some forcible persuasion, we have this piece here. This, that went right there, is like a battery tie down or something. I really don't know. But it was there. Well, it's gone now. And what we're going to do is we'll take our whiteout pen. And as you can see, here's the cutout that was there for the battery box. We're going to come in and going to extend this back in the same kind of area there. Back, maybe a little further. I'll have to measure and see exactly. But we want to get past this stuff because I need to drill 2 holes. One like right there and one right there. I'll measure better later. But we need to notch that out there for the new battery box. So, I mean, not the new, but the existing battery box, so it can sit right in that area closer to the firewall. So, gotta figure out what I'm gonna use to cut that. I guess my cutoff wheel, but I didn't want to get too close. I gotta pull all these back, make sure there's nothing in the way while I'm cutting. So, let's get to cutting that. Okay, guys, I have a welding glove underneath all the wires and anything below it, so none of the sparks will start a fire. I have a small wheel on here for cutting, because it's a small little area. So we're going to use a small wheel, get in here, do 2 cuts, try to get this third one as much as we can, and trim up however we need to. Quick, simple, and that should be loose. Pull that off. That should be super hot right now. We'll just do this. Take that piece off. Throw it away. And we can take a look and see. I'll clean up all the edges later with a file. But let's just test this out and see how it fits. And it's looking pretty good. Maybe a little bit more off the back, but all these wires come up and will join back in. So having that there, let's test fit the tank. And the tank actually looks good, and it's got some room to move. So you know, I'm gonna get the battery distribution block mounted first before we cut the tank. But the tank will sit right there, and it should, yeah, nothing's right in the middle. Let's feel from underneath and see where our pipe is, because dropping it down, we're actually gonna have to move this back. Let me pull this wire out. Oh no, that comes up. We're actually gonna have to move this back. It feels like actually it's gonna have to move right. Yeah, it's gonna have to move right and back just a tad bit to clear underneath. So we will redraw around this and put in a new line for where this has to go, because trial and error actually tells us where you know, we can actually mount stuff. So that tank's actually gonna have to move to the right and down. So now that we have that marked out, we'll cut that, but I'm gonna save that for tomorrow. It's getting pretty late tonight, and so we'll do all the rest of this cutting and fitting the tank tomorrow, running the lines, and all of that. But that'll be after the fun run. I'll insert a small little clip of the fun run. I'll insert it. Well, guys, morning before the fun run, and I finally went up to, I actually went to Lowe's and grabbed a 24mm socket. Had to take my dad's excursion because both the cars are down. And I had no way to get up there, even though it's like right there. But we had the 24. Let's take off the oil filter housing now, so I can replace the oil filter, and we can put oil back in, and we can get this thing ready to go. I'm gonna wash it up also for the fun run and get it looking nice. So we're gonna loosen the oil filter housing here. Should have a little bit of oil in it. Shouldn't be like a crazy amount. Just enough to fill that filter. I could not get the little 6 hex bolt off the bottom to drain all the oil out of the filter housing. It appears that the previous owner stripped that item. So maybe on the next oil change I will replace this plastic filter cap housing. Let's see if that'll spin off by hand. There we go. Move the oil drain pan underneath it. Spin this baby off. Ooh, there we go. We got a bunch of oil. A lot of it. Dump all that. There we go. And we will pull this out, clean it up, get all the oil off of it, take the filter out, put the new filter in. Let's let that drain a little bit more. Put the new filter in and get some oil back in this thing. There's a lot of oil in there. Okay. So let's go and do that. So we will throw this in here, pop this out, and take that old gasket off, clean up the area that gasket sits, so it's got a, you make sure it's a solid bond. Pop this open, take out the new one, rub some oil on it from inside so to make sure it seats well, slide it back over and put it back down into place. Perfect. New filter. Go, snaps in, and let's go put this thing back in and fill everything with oil. So the X5 takes about 8.5 quarts for the V8. I again bought 10 quarts of it, of the mobile one, 5W30. That's what the previous owner had in here, so that's what I'll be putting back in here. But nice fresh oil change. This car will love it. It'll be perfect for the fun run. So let's get to filling this up and checking for leaks, and then we will head out to go grab some paint real quick and then clean the car and then head to the fun run. See you guys in a little bit. Well guys, we're making a slight detour today from working in the garage. We have the Country Euro Fun Run something, I can't remember what the name we made up for it. Up from Houston to Conroe today. I'm on my way there. The meeting spot, I have to stop on my way and pick up some paint for Jorge's car. We're doing a tech day tomorrow, and we're gonna get some work done. I'm gonna paint his bumper, paint his mirrors, the same way I painted the wing. So we will be doing that tomorrow. Big tech day. About, I don't know, 10, 15 maybe people coming over. Barbecue grill going. Weather's nice. It's in the 70s. Perfect weather for February, or into February, beginning of March. So I'm gonna go pick up this paint. I'll see you guys at the fun run. Well, guys, we're having a little tech day at the house today. Have a few friends over. Working on an E36 M3 right now. We're repainting the mirrors. Same process that we did with the wing, except for I'm using a black primer because the car is Cosmo black. So do a black primer on the base makes the color, really pop. So painting this rear bumper, and I'm in the process of switching out the ICV right now. But gonna finish priming these, get some paint on them, go back and get the ICV all cleaned up. First coat of paint on Jorge's car. We have the rear bumper and the top of the bumper painted. We'll let that tack up for 15 minutes and then we'll spray the second coat. Say hi to Chris. You'll see his car, Black Xena Warrior Princess, soon. His will be over here doing wide body and gauges and a few other things. But for now, we got a new camera, guys. New camera for Squirrel Garage. We're going to be retiring the knockoff GoPro and going with the new 4K 1080p with external mic, as a few people have suggested that I get. So we will see what this turns out to look like. Most likely we'll use this on the next video, so episode 6, I guess. We'll do this one. We'll finish off this video with the GoPro, and then we'll go to this one. So we'll see what this one comes out. Today, had a little tech day at the house. You saw that a little bit earlier in the video. Worked on Jorge's car, did some painting, fixed an ICD, and did some radio stuff, but nothing too major. But gonna get back on this. Gonna cut this. I don't know what this is. A battery tray, something for our coolant tank here. Gonna trim this out real quick and fit that, and then we'll be done for this episode. Next episode we'll run our lines to the coolant and actually finish buttoning all this stuff up so we can actually move on to other things on this car. So let's get to cut this tray out so we can fit the coolant. So guys, now that we have the hole cut, let's test fit our coolant tank here, and looks like it fits perfectly. Little rubber gasket around there will keep that from chafing or anything, but that looks like it fits perfectly. Our distribution block gets put in right back behind there, and we got good distance in between the two. As you can see, I'm gonna move you guys over here. As you can see, the tank sits a little bit lower than the hood here, so we have more than enough room. Sits in a nice position. We have all the room underneath for all the hoses. And we'll make little brackets here. You see these that come off the tank. We'll make little brackets here that mount right over here. And the same with the other side. We'll make a bracket right there, a little L bracket, and it'll go and attach right there. Well, guys, that's the end of this episode. We'll finish up the brackets and running the lines next episode. We had a very long day today. We had tech day. We had, been a crazy weekend. We had the fun run, which you saw earlier in the video, tech day today, and working on this thing. So, we'll jump back into this next episode, finish up the coolant tank, get the fan finally mounted, and get everything buttoned up so we can start working on the gauges and the tablet install inside, once we get all this situated. So, like the video, subscribe below for more, and I'll see you guys next episode.